Welcome to a different video, and in this one we're going to look at a renovation project that I've recently undertaken for MADF 27's Burgundy Bluffs. It's a course that I really loved. I judged the CC contest where this placed really highly, and I remember really enjoying the environment. Having judged it, I had a pretty good idea of the things that I would do to improve it, and it's very rare you get the chance to do the what if sort of projects where you've already seen how the holes ended up one way, and you just kind of want to put your own spin on it and how would you go about developing that course now? So that's what this is. We're going to look at this course, how you might go about renovating it, and the sorts of things that I did. Now, I came in knowing that there were a couple of things that I really wanted to develop. The first one, the main one, was the green complexes, as I felt that those were very TGC 19, where they were quite small and funnel the ball off the green. I kind of wanted to keep it on the green a little bit more and prefer a running ground game. The second one that I wanted to do was tweak some of the routing, which had a little quirk that we had to fix, and then also just keeping the same hole corridors, keeping as many of the same bunkers as we could. How could we make those holes play a little bit more interesting? So hopefully we've accomplished some of that, and I hope that you enjoy. The first hole at Burgundy Bluffs was basically the same as what we've got now. The tee shot is identical, we haven't really changed any of the planting. The only change to this hole really came at the green site. The original green tended to repel shots and didn't really offer advantages to either side of the fairway. The new expanded green features a lot of contours that you can use to funnel the ball close to different pins. And also there's a clearly preferential side to avoid the front bunker, so right for a right pin, left for a left pin. The second hole is a bit of a more dramatic change. Whilst still a par 5, I originally debated whether making it a long 4. The tee shot is broadly similar, it's pretty much exactly the same. The approach shot is where things have changed. The green side's been shifted a little further back and to the right, and the green angles towards the right hand side of the fairway, encouraging a shot from that side. However, it's not a green that you should always be going for. It's long and narrow, and really it's a bit more perched than any of the others, which tend to prefer running shots. So this one's one where you might want to consider going for it or not, because missing it is not ideal with awkward little bunker shots. The tee shot on the third is pretty similar. We've still got the waste area on the left, we've got the bunker emanating from it. What has changed is we've pushed the tees up a little bit and changed the length of the hole. So it's a shorter par 4. You no longer have that central bunker in the middle of the fairway, which opens up a few more options. The green also runs from front to back, and essentially the further to the right you are, and leaving a full wedge in is preferable to this green. The fourth hole has always had a beautiful green site, and we wanted to really keep that. However, it's a more simplified green now. The far section, which was kind of a little Biarritz, is now a runoff. The original 2 bunkers have still remained. The green itself is a little bit more playful, with a couple of mounds requiring precise shots, and you don't want to go too far because there are runoffs along. Another hole that barely needed touching was the 5th. The only thing that has changed here is that the fairway is no longer joined with the 6th, and the green is subtly changed from where it was before. Otherwise, the bunkering is all absolutely intact. This was a great hole with really good bones to it. As you do approach the green, it's now more receptive to a running shot, with that little bunker short leading to an angled green that prefers shots from the right. However, it will filter balls that are just off the left of the green towards the pins. The 6th has some more drastic changes. With this one, because that central mound is gone and the fairways are no longer joined, in conjunction with the green being angled towards the right of this fairway, there's no longer a benefit to playing down the left-hand fairway. In this one, the mound is still present in the form of a little bit of a hogsback, so cutting the corner too much left might end up with you being in the rough. You do want to approach the green from the right-hand side though anyway, so just clearing that hogsback spine and laying short of the fairway bunker is your best play here. The 7th has gone from being a short par 4, which was typically drivable, to being a long par 3 where you do expect to get there. Bunkering remains pretty much intact, including the legacy bunker short right off the tee, and the green is wider but with some more interesting contouring to bring the ball a little bit toward pins. However, if you're aiming to get really close for a birdie, you do have to be very precise with a long club. In another par flip, the 8th has become the short par 4 rather than the long par 3, so that we could bring the cliffs on the right into play. Originally, this hole had a large green just short of where the fairway ends here. We used the little ravine just long and pushed the green back a touch to make a really good risk-reward par 4, where even laying up you want to be careful and thinking about how the ball is going to release. Hopefully an interesting short hole. Like many of the others on the front nine, 9 remains broadly unchanged, particularly the tee shot, which is nigh on identical. Most of the bunkers remain the same, they've just been given a little sculpting pass. Now, with this one, I always loved the green side that was just tucked behind this little dune and bunker complex, and we've made this into a bit more of a double punch bowl with 2 feeder slopes, meaning that you can choose which way you want to attack this. If you want to go left for a left pin, that will leave you avoiding the front spine, but going right might leave you a bit more of a backboard to use. There's some choices here. The 10th is again pretty much unchanged, although we've shortened the hole and moved the tee a bit further to the right. This allows for a slightly shorter hole ahead of a longer stretch of holes, and also means that those 2 right-hand bunkers are a bit more in play when you're skirting close to them. In order to encourage you to skirt close to them, the green now juts out onto that natural mound, which means that the further right you are off the tee, the better your angle into it. You only have a wedge if you hit a good drive, but it does bring those bunkers into play. Hitting too long and left will funnel you down away and leaving to a worse angle into this green. Another hole where the tee shot required 0 work, the 11th has always appealed to me as a driving hole. This gentle reverse camber stays exactly the same, with just a couple of extra little bunkers added to reflect the longer drivers in this game. However, it's the green side where things really change. The old green side becomes the new 16th tee, and the green itself has been shuffled back a little bit, making a longer hole, and there was a natural punch bowl site right here with a really interesting feature on the right-hand side of the green that I think will promote some very fun shots. Originally the 16th hole, the 12th is now a long par 4 with a blind tee shot over a dune, and the longer hole and blind nature of it means that we can have a very wide open fairway, albeit with a preferred line down the left that is going to allow you to avoid that kind of treacherous little runoff area short right of the green. This green really demands a running approach, and the contours are relatively gentle, but you can feed the ball even towards back pins. Possibly my favourite hole on the course, this one's certainly a lot of fun to play. Now with an ocean backdrop, the 13th is broadly the same tee shot again, a little bit raised so you can see more of the hole and with the back bunkers removed and just a skyline view towards the ocean. Now the green site has been shuffled a little further back down the hole, leading to a cliff top view as you reach the far end of the course. The further left you can go off the tee, the better your angle into it, but you don't want to go too far or you're running off potentially over the cliffs if you really hit it downwind. Whilst a completely new hole, the 14th does occupy the exact same site as the old 15th, with the original 14th now being removed for a par 3 beyond this hole. This one, again, had a central bunker, it's now a mound, and it features a high side and a low side of the fairway. The high side is preferable, and the green does really ask for the same sort of shot. It features the same angle, it's just a touch more receptive and is asking you a bit more of a ground game approach to try to funnel the ball onto the green. The one area of the property that was never used in the original, the 15th, is the replacement for the old 14th and is a slightly uphill par 3, maybe not from the back tees, that's set into the wooded area. It's got a gentle green and should be one where you can get a good birdie, but those front pins can be quite tricky, as can the back left just tucked behind the spine. The original 16th and the bunkers down the left are broadly unchanged, although there are some additional bunkers to reflect the increase in length. This was originally a short par 4, it's now a long par 5 so that you get the sweeping approach shot view that we always really wanted with this hole. Now the front bunker in front of the green has been removed to allow a few more options and replaced with a false front, so the slightly too timid shot will be repelled. However, you can run the ball onto this green and there's some subtle contouring that will make putts interesting. I mean, the eagles are going to be difficult to come by. 17 has now had the back tee is pushed all the way out right, meaning that you're hitting over the cliffs that we didn't really use beforehand. There's a wide open fairway, so plenty of space, but the further right you are of the tee, the more you're opening up this look to the green, which has again been pushed back a little further, so you now crest all the way up the hill to a green that slopes hard from back to front, and you want to be below the hole, which is no mean feat given the elevation change that you have to traverse to get there. The 18th always occupied a spectacular spot, but the design has been a little simplified. Rather than the two green sites split by the one bunker, we've now got the one angled green and some very bold contouring and bunkering. This is still very much a case of if you miss this green, you've missed it. There's no fairway apron whatsoever, but for a closing hole, it's very much the definition of hit a good shot or else. So that is Glencove. It's been a really fun renovation project. It's a course I have really fond memories of, and I felt I knew well from having judged it in the past CC contest. Thought what I really liked about it was that I didn't really have to do much of the planting again. I didn't want to. Tried to leave as much of the bunkering and planting intact as I could, and we've used almost all of the same hole corridors with that one exception of the par 3. That said, it's been a renovation project. There have been a lot of changes based both to pars. The par 3s have all basically been rebuilt, as have many of the par 5s. But the holes themselves are still where they always were and mostly retain exactly the same characteristics, with some green changes, some contouring that will make you think a little bit more, and more reflecting, I think, the way that we've developed as a design community over the past few years. Remember, this was a course that was really, really good for its time and placed very well in that contest. It's by no means a bad course. I think it kind of shows how far we've all come in 2 years. Now, that said, I hope that it's a course that still remains close to CC level. The greens may amp up the challenge a little bit more than what we used to have, so it might be more a kinetic or an elite tour event if the wind gets up, but that was always the aim. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy your rounds.